What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today is August the 21st. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is really focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, roughly 8:45, we have a lot of flash data, and that's going to be shortly after the market does open, of course. And I think in general, that is going to be a big deal that could potentially move the market. When it comes down to it, 50 is a key pivot. And so anything below 50 does show more of a contraction. Anything above 50 shows more of an expansion. So the manufacturing, currently the forecast is 49.7, somewhat in line with what it was last report. So at 49.8, composite 55 or 53 is the forecast. And then you have the services at 53. So again, just kind of watch for that. But at the same time, Walmart's earnings coupled with the flash data was going to potentially cause some uncertainty. Walmart earnings, luckily enough, did come in a little bit better than anticipated, so I'll go over that in a second. But aside from that, you do have Dow down 0.39, S&P down 0.3, NASDAQ down 0.28. No real rhyme or reason that caused all of this push lower, in my opinion. During the overnight, things were recovering like crazy. You had a lot of stocks up like 4%. You even had SoundHound. It's not top 10 most heavily traded this morning, so I'm not going to be talking about that. But you had a lot of stocks up like 5+%. Now you're kind of having flip-flopping to the vice versa. But at the same time, though, fear and greed index is under the greed category, so meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table, and that's somewhat resemblant based on some of the stocks I will be talking on. Getting right to it, SoFi, no news, no SEC filings. This was one of those stocks that was up a solid 1.5%, getting a lot of volume, but clearly market has other plans for it. But in my opinion, usually what does happen during the overnight, it does not encumber any manipulation. So once the market does open, that's probably where it could gravitate towards. So that's just my own opinion, of course. But aside from that, shorts, 9.39% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 110.6 million shares overall being shorted. So today and most likely tomorrow are going to be the days that they are most active. So just keep that in mind. Aside from that, with a 22.32 during the pre-market, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 22.26 is going to be a key support. You really want to watch for it to close above. And in my opinion, I do feel like it will close above that within this range. I don't see it getting above that 23.32 because keep in mind, tomorrow we do have the dreaded Powell speech at 9 a.m. And if he says like rate hike or potentially cut or is just neutral for various reasons, that's going to instantly move the market. So anticipate a lot of volatility. Moving on, tickers THAR is getting a lot of volume this morning. I believe it's actually the most heavily traded so far. It is up 34%. No news, no SEC filings associated to them this morning. Rather is piggybacking off the news that they did put out yesterday, which was this. As I've explained to you, biotech's not really my forte. So just keep in mind that this is what is moving the stock price yesterday, but don't ask me to explain it. Aside from that, though, yesterday it did go up 206%. Regarding shorts, 18.86% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 673,000 shares. This is exactly what the market does like to squeeze. Heavily shorted, low float. So this technically is a little bit of a squeeze play. And from what you can see, this purple line, here I'll make this a little bit bigger, shorts absolutely double down. So the shorts are very reactive to the stock price. So again, something to keep in mind. Most likely they will be active today. With it right now at 468, trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 411 is going to be a strong support, and then 663 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So given the price action yesterday, I feel like it's not off the table for it to hit that 663 or potentially even at 818. So do your own due diligence, of course, but I think this one will be a hot one for day traders. And then speaking of another hot stock for day traders, Opendoor. So yesterday it just got hit quite hard, down 11.05%. During the pre-market, it is down, was down. Now it's clearly green. So kind of a lot of volatility, as you can kind of see, but no news, no SEC filings from them. I think just investors are waiting for the next big catalyst, which of course, as I've mentioned in my dedicated Opendoor video, has to be just a CEO. 23.57% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 154.45 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts did increase quite a lot yesterday. So we'll just kind of watch for that. Most likely what they will be doing is hitting Opendoor really hard and fast first thing, just to kill any momentum. Then they just taper off. That seems to be their kind of strategy that they do with Opendoor. But nonetheless, with it at 323, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 287 is going to be a strong support, and then 349 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, I do feel like today it will close between this R2 and this R1. So a lot of good momentum. So just kind of watch for that. So if you're day trading or whatever else, just watch for that 349 to be that key pivot. Aside from that, ticker's EVOK. And so they are up 17.84% because of this news right here. Once again, biotech's not really my forte, so just kind of read it, but ultimately this is why it is going higher. It's not that heavily shorted, so 5.18% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 71,000 shares. So most likely they will play a part in today, because we've seen that they are very reactive to the stock price, because when it did, looks like it spiked at the beginning of July, shorts quadrupled down. So most likely they will also, similarly today, increase their position, but clearly with some good momentum, it could really move higher. With it right now at 658, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 815 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, followed by 989. Flip side, 534 is going to be that next strong support. In my opinion, I think that it will have a spike once the market does open, but ultimately it will close between this R1 and the pivot. So again, do your own due diligence. And then last but not least, Walmart. So they are down slightly, but I think a lot of people were going to really watch for what they give for future guidance. And yes, they are giving some essential warning signs, but it's kind of really hard to take them seriously when they're giving warning signs. And yet, despite that though, they made a ton of money. Huge amount of money. So they did make $7.03 billion, which works out to be 88 cents per share. And ultimately, that same time a year ago was 56 cents a share. So at the end of the day, yes, you can give all the warning signs that you want, but if you're making a ton of money hand over fist, the market's not really going to believe you all that much. So in my opinion, I think that this earnings was fairly good. 0.85% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 36 million shares. Of course, this isn't a squeeze play, but if you're wanting to trade it, with it right now at 99 and change, it is right above this R1, so 99.14 and 97.19 is going to be support levels. Flip side, 135 and then 102 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Is there any that you're trading or buying, or is there any other stocks? If so, throw some tickers in the description below. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I do give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.